Hey guys, welcome to another episode with me, Prachi. Today we're going to be talking about how to build your personal brand as a student. This is a part 2 and I'll be leaving the link of the first video in my description, so check that out when you have some time. I'm really excited to share some tips with you today, so I hope you're ready. Just before we start, a little bit of a recap. I'm Prachi here in Melbourne, Australia. I'm a marketing professional and I've been a personal branding enthusiast for quite a few years now, having written about it on LinkedIn and my website, prachipreaches.com. I've used personal branding as an international student here in Melbourne, and I really hope that my tips help you guys land that dream job. Now, before we get started, let's talk about how to choose your brand name. Well, it could be your name or it could be something catchy or quirky, like prachipreaches. I'll talk about how I got to that name towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. But yeah, let's start thinking about how to choose your brand name. One thing that I will point out here is that make sure that you use the same name on every platform that you want your audiences to discover you. So if I type in Prachi Preaches on Google, I'm pretty sure my website's gonna come up, and then my Instagram and Twitter are gonna come up. So that's a great way to own that SEO space. So make sure that you use your brand name on all of the platforms that you want your audiences to discover you on. I've talked about choosing a name, and I know for a lot of you, and rightfully so, you know, this will be something that you want to spend some time thinking about. But at the end of the day, you know, take your time. Might take you a few weeks, you know, of thinking, but at the end of the day, don't overthink it. Your brand is ever evolving. Go with your gut like I did, and don't overthink it. So once you have your name, make sure that you focus on content. Content is king. There, I said it. It is such a cliche, but content is king, and you need to be consistent with your content. Whenever there is any doubt over choosing between quality or quantity, definitely choose quality and you will be a winner. You want to make sure that content is really relatable to your audiences and that they can understand the solution you're giving to any problem that you talk about. So that is so important. And then I also want to mention that you want to be present on 1 or 2 platforms to start off with. For instance, I am focusing most of my energy on LinkedIn, creating content for that platform, and then my website, and now YouTube. So I just want to, you know, not spread myself thin, and focus on just a couple of platforms where I can really build content and quality content. So make sure you have a think about that. Now, as promised, let's talk about 3 more ways to build your personal brand as a student. My number 1 tip for you today is to do a social media audit. Now, what does that even mean? Well, I want you to go online and search for all your online profiles and delete the ones that don't align with your personal brand. If your online profile is public, there is a massive chance that a recruiter or employer can stumble upon it in the future. So you want to make sure that they stumble upon only good things about you, of course. Now, while we're talking about it, I do want to give a personal tip. Do not engage in anything religion or politics based on LinkedIn. It's just not a good look, and it's also not the right platform to engage in these conversations. Now, the second point that I want to talk about today is networking, and a lot of things fall into networking. You want to do your research on the people in your industry, and you also want to follow people who are experts in your industry. And it's very cool that you can do that on LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's also a really great way to keeping up to date with what's going on in the world, especially when it has to do with what you specialize in. One thing I make sure on LinkedIn is I also connect with people from the same industry but also in the same area. What I mean by that is I make a conscious decision to connect with people in Melbourne and also across Australia. Another point that comes under networking is also staying in touch with former employers and colleagues. It's a really small world, and it's good to keep in touch so you know what's going on in your industry, in the hiring sector, and also it's good to know for references. Now, the third point is quite heavy. It's getting your foot in the door, whether it's a part-time job or an internship or even a volunteer position. A personal brand isn't just something that's online. You want this personal brand of yours to resonate with you and your work ethic in the physical form as well. A great way to show people how amazing you are at what you do is by actually showing them. All right, so now that you've seen both my videos on how to build your personal brand as a student, I want you to start thinking about your personal strengths. What motivates you? What is it that makes you stand out? The answers to these questions will help determine what you want to be known for, what you want your personal brand to be about, and who your target audience will be. So now that you've made it to the end of the video, let's talk about how Prachi Preaches came to be. Prachi Preaches was created, I remember I was talking to a group of friends in university in India, and it was just an interesting conversation that we were having at the time, and I felt like I might have been preaching. I think I remember someone suggested I should probably have an online persona, Prachi Preaches. And that's how it came to be. There's so many Prachi Tyagis out there. I just thought this was a really interesting way to kind of just differentiate myself. Well, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I'd love to hear your feedback and what you think of these tips on building your personal brand as a student and landing your dream job. I really hope that these tips help you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching.